right? So this was the problem which we completed. Now we have one last problem under combinations. So let us finish this and go for a new chapter today. Fine. So find the total number of parallelograms that can be formed from a set of 5 parallel lines intersecting another set of 6 parallel lines. I think we were discussing this problem to the last part of the class. Okay, so let us continue and let us redo this actually. Now what are they saying is, how many parallelograms can be formed? Now parallelogram is something which looks like this. Okay, so two ways it is slanty lines, and then they are connected by the other two lines above and below. Now here they are asking us how many total number of parallelograms that can be formed from a set of 5 parallel lines intersecting another 6 parallel lines. Okay, now let us take for example, let us draw that 5 and 6 lines. So I think it will be easy for you to understand. Okay, so let us say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are 5 parallel lines. See, they don't connect each other here. Okay, now these are intersected. Okay, these are intersected by another 6 parallel lines. Now let's say another 6 is 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, wait a second. We'll draw it a little slantly, so then it'll be easy. So we'll draw it like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 5 parallel lines is intersecting other 6 parallel lines. So these are intersections. See, when they cross each other, okay, this will be the point of intersection. Did you understand the question first of all? Parallelograms intersecting with each other? Yes. Okay, now how do we solve this problem when you have intersection of parallel lines? Now if you see here, this is one parallelogram, this is one more parallelogram, and this is one more, and this is one, this is like this. You will have parallelograms everywhere. So they're asking us how many total number of parallelograms that can be formed. Now we have a direct formula to solve this. Okay, so let us go back to the properties or the useful formulas of combinations and understand what is that direct formula. So if there are m parallel lines, okay, if there are m parallel lines intersecting another set of n parallel lines, then the number of parallelograms that can be formed are mc2 into nc2. So we just have to take this mc2 into nc2. So what is m? M is the first set of parallel lines and n is the second set of parallel lines. Okay, in our question, first is the 5. A set of 5 parallel lines is intersecting with another set of 6 parallel lines. Okay, so how do we do this? We will have 5c2 into 6c2. This will be the actual combination. Now once we solve this 5c2 into 6c2, then we will be able to get the answer for the number of parallelograms that can be formed by intersecting 5 and 6 parallel lines. Did you understand this property? I want everybody to reply. Did you all understand this property? Okay, now we already have the formula written here. What is the first set of parallel line? We have 5 parallel lines first, and then we have 6 parallel lines. So first is 5 parallel lines and then 6 parallel lines. So 5c2 into 6c2. Now let us solve this one after the other. So first let us solve 5c2. So what is the formula? N factorial divided by n minus r factorial into r factorial, which is nothing but n is 5 factorial divided by n minus r is 5 minus 2 factorial into 2 factorial. So 5 factorial divided by 5 minus 2 is 3 factorial into 2 factorial. Okay. Next, you can write 5 factorial as 5 into 4 into 3 factorial divided by 3 factorial into 2 factorial. I can cancel 3 factorial and 3 factorial. So I have 5 fours are 20 divided by 2 factorial is 2. So 2 ones are and 2 tens are. So what is the answer for 5C2? I get 10 as the answer for 5C2. Did you all understand? Everybody understood how to calculate 5C2? Okay. Now let us calculate 6C2. Okay. In the same, using the same formula, we will be calculating 6C2. Okay. So 6C2 is nothing but 6 factorial by 6 minus 2 factorial into 2 factorial. So 6 factorial by 6 minus 2 is 4 factorial into 2 factorial. So I can write this as 6 into 5 into 4 factorial divided by 4 factorial into 2 factorial. I can cancel 4 and 4 factorial. So 6 5s are 6 5s are how much? 30 divided by 2. So I get 15 as the answer. So I have 10 into 15, which will give me 150 parallelograms. Okay. I have 150 parallelograms, which I can derive from a set of 5 parallel numbers intersecting 6 parallel numbers. Sorry, lines, parallel lines. Understood? Any doubts in this problem? I want everybody to reply. Why is no one replying today? What happened? Can we go to the next problem? Okay, the last problem of combinations. Okay, now here, listen. Find the number of diagonals in a decagon. Now, firstly, we have to understand what is a decagon. Deca means 10. Okay, deca means 10. Okay, a decagon will have 10 vertices, which means like you have octagon and hexagon. Those are 5 6 7 sides of diagrams. Similarly, you will have 10 points for a decagon. Okay, let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so if we say this is a decagon, I will draw lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, this is a, for example, this is a decagon. Okay, it looks much better though. Okay, now this decagon has 10 points. Okay, these 10 points are known as 10 vertices. Okay, these 10 points are known as 10 vertices. But here they're asking us how many number of diagonals will be there. Now diagonals means they are something like this. Okay, let me choose a different color. Okay, if I join a point here and here on the opposite side, this will be called as a diagonal. Again, if I join this point and this point on the opposite side, then it is a diagonal. Now in a decagon, they're asking how many diagonals can we form. Okay, this also can be easily solved by using the property. Okay, let's go back and check what is that property of combination. Now see here, if a polygon has n sides or n vertices, now we have something called as decagon, correct? So decagon has 10 vertices or 10 points. Okay, then number of diagonals is equal to NCR minus N. So what is N? 10. C. What is R? We have to take 2 points to form a diagonal. Okay. For a diagonal, we require 2 points. Okay. 1 point on the upside and 1 point on the opposite side to form a diagonal. Okay. So let's say 10C2 minus N. That is what they're trying to give. In short, we are supposed to find out N into N minus 3 divided by 2. If you use this formula, then you'll be able to get the number of diagonals. Okay. In short, that is what they're trying to give. Now, let us see here. Now, a decagon has 10 vertices. By joining any two vertices, we get diagonal or a side. Now, I told you in the opposite direction, you will have to see the points and then you'll have to try and join those points. Okay, like this, how many points can I join so that I get opposite lines? That I have to understand. So how many sides do we have? We have 10 sides in a decagon. So out of which I will be taking 2 points at a time. Out of 10 points, I'll be taking 2 points at a time to form a diagonal. Okay, so that will be 10C2 and then minus 10. Okay, 10C2 minus 10. Now let us solve what is 10C2. So 10C2 is nothing but 10 factorial divided by 10 minus 2 factorial. This is whole factorial into 2 factorial. So 10 factorial is equal to 8 factorial into 2 factorial. So 10 factorial can be written as 10 into 9 into 8 factorial divided by 8 factorial into 2 factorial. Okay, so I can cancel 8 factorial and 8 factorial. So I have 10 nines are 90 divided by 2, which is nothing but 45. So if I solve 10C2, I get 45 and then I have to subtract 10 from that. So I get 35 diagonals which I can form in a decagon where and moreover these are diagonal lines. Okay, these are not just lines. Okay, these are diagonal lines which I can form in a decagon. Did you all understand? Any doubts until here? Okay, I will give you 2 minutes. Go through the problems of combinations that we have done until today and let me know if you have doubt in any of the problem. Any doubts in the combinations until today? Which problem you have doubt, you can ask. Okay, Imran has raised his hand. Yes, Imran, you have any doubt? No? Okay, then that was my by mistake, is it? Everybody has understood the combinations? Okay, so that concludes our chapter number 1. We learned set theory, and in set theory, all detailed set theory we learned, properties of set theory we learned, and then we came to permutation and combination with the basics. Okay, so permutation combination. Yeah, Rida, I will do the oral test. Before that, uh, let me start with the chapter today, the next chapter. Okay, I will let you know when is the oral test by the end of the day. So all of you can prepare for it. Fine. Okay. So no doubts here, right? So let us start or let us go with the next chapter now. Okay. Can you all see the screen? Yeah, this is your next chapter, theory of equations. Again, a very, very interesting chapter. We will be solving a lot of questions and problems in this also. Okay, so before getting into problems, let us understand what is that equation. So from where it started and how we have to solve all that, we will understand the basics and we'll start with the problems in the next class. Fine. So let us move on. So firstly, an equation is a statement that says two algebraic expressions are equal and are satisfied only for certain values of the variables. Okay, here you will have two equal algebraic expressions, okay, where you will have a few unknowns and few known values. So you're supposed to keep the known values and solve for unknown values. So suppose let's take for example 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. This is one of the equation. Okay. Let's say 5x plus 7y is equal to 4. This is also equation. Now, if you see onto the one side, you have one algebraic expression. Onto the other side also you have an algebraic number. Okay. So, and these both are connected by equal to in between. Okay, these both are connected by equal to in between. So such type of statements, okay, this is a statement and they are called as equation. Did you all understand what is the equation? So equation is a statement that says two algebraic expressions are equal and they are satisfied by certain values. Now, if you take for example, here you do not know what is the value of x. Okay, so we are supposed to find it. Now, how do we find it? We will keep 3x to one side and we'll take 2 to the other side. And whenever you have plus onto one side, and if it goes to after equals to, it is gonna change signs. So this plus is gonna become minus, and if you have minus here, it is gonna become plus. If at all you have division here, it is going to become multiplication. If you have multiplication, it will become division. Understood? This is the basic rule you should always remember while solving maths and stats. Okay, so if it one side it is plus, it will become minus onto the other side. Yes, Rida, we will also learn about what is the use of algebra in business. Okay, we will have statement problems where we will have to find out, which is the best option for the business, where we will get more profit for the business. Okay, when we think about all that, we will solve more problems regarding that. But what you have right now are the basics for that algebra. Okay, I'm not sure if you have already solved these equations and linear and quadratic equations, but these are basics. And then towards the end of the chapter, we will be learning about the algebra, application of it in business. Okay, so please remember this rule of plus to minus, minus to plus, division to multiplication, multiplication to division. Okay, so here you have 3x, so I'm taking plus to the other side, it is going to become minus 2. So next step, since it is 3 into x, I have a multiplication, so x is equal to minus 2. If multiplication goes to the other side, it is going to become division, so minus 2 by 3. So the value of x here will be minus 2 by 3. Okay, so this is how you solve a single variable problem. Okay, now what is the single variable problem? Now if you observe this equation, you only have x which is being given here, and then this 2 is called as constant. Okay, if it's a number, it is called as constant. If you have a alphabet or if you have a letter, then it is called as variable. And the number before the variable, now it says 3x, right? So if this is the variable, a number before the variable is called as coefficient. Okay, coefficient of the variable will be written before the variable. If at all you have only number like this 2, then you have 4, this is called as constant. Okay, so that will define, all this together will define us the equation. Okay, so let us understand it once again. An equation is a statement that says two algebraic expression are equal and is satisfied by only certain values. Okay, you cannot blindly put any value into the equation. Only few selected values will be applicable. And what is our job? We have to find out which is that certain value which is suitable for the equation. So that is known as equation. In other words, there is also another definition. Equations signify relation between two algebraic expression symbolized by the sign of equal to. So between two expression, you will have equal to sign being given there. Okay, so that is known as equation. Now suppose in the case of this, let's take like this, 3x plus 4y is equal to 4. Okay, so here on one side you have algebraic expression, on the other side you have a constant that is also part of algebraic expression, and in between you have equal to sign. So this is called as equation. Okay, now for our easy understanding, we will name both of the sides with a name. Okay, now your left hand side, don't go by the equation's left hand side. Okay, your left side is called as LHS, which means left hand side. Okay, LHS means left hand side. And towards your right side is called as RHS, which is nothing but right hand side. Understood? Understood till here? Left hand side and right hand side. So what is an equation? Two algebraic expression which are equal and is satisfied by only certain values. Okay, now let us move on. Let's move further. Now, degree of equation. Now, what is this degree of equation? Degree is nothing but the highest power of variable. Now, when we take an example, let's understand this with an example. In this particular equation, what is the power of x here? Can anybody say me what is the power of x there? 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. Okay. Bindushri, the power of x is not 0. I have not written 0. I have just circled what is the power there. Okay. So when there is nothing which is written on the x here, it means that the power of x is 1. Correct? So for this equation, the degree of equation, the highest power of the equation is 1. Okay. No, 2 is not. 2 is the coefficient, Imran. 2 is the coefficient. X is the variable. And for variable, power is 1. Okay. Next. Second equation. See the second equation. Say me what all powers are present. What all powers are present. Why am I asking powers? Because you have x to the power 2 and x to the power 1. There are two variables with power 2 and power 1. Correct? Now, out of 2 and 1, which is the higher number? Out of 2 and 1, which is the higher number? 2. So, which means the degree of equation in this equation is 2. Okay, understood? Are you all able to follow? Okay, now let us see this third equation. X to the power 7, okay, x to the power 7 minus 3 into x to the power 5 is equal to x plus 1. This is the equation given. Now, if you see here, there is x here, there is x here, and there is also x given here. Correct? So, there are one variable repeated 3 times. Okay? There is one variable x which is repeated 3 times. Out of 3 times, we have the power x 7, sorry, we have the power 7 and we have the power 5. And since nothing is written, it is power 1. So we have 7, 5 and 1. Now out of 7, 5, 1, which is the highest number? 7 is the highest number. Everybody will agree to that. So it means the degree of the equation of this equation is 7. So what is the degree of equation? The highest power that is available for a variable. Everybody understood? What is the degree of the equation now? Okay, so this was degree of equation for one variable. One variable means we had only x. We were not thinking about any other variable. Now let us see few examples in two variables. Now what are the two variables? We have x as well as y. Okay, we have x as well as y. Now in the first equation, 2x plus 3y is equal to 5. Yeah, x and y are the two variables. Now here let us see, x has the power of 1, y also has the power of 1. Okay, so highest power here is 1 and 1. Out of 1 and 1, the highest power is 1 only. So the degree of the equation of this equation is 1. Understood? Now let us go to the next example. Now the next example is 2x square plus 3y plus 2 is equal to 1. Now here x has the power of 2 and y has the power of 1. Out of 2 and 1, which is the highest number? Out of 2 and 1, which is the highest number? I want everybody to reply. 2, correct? So 2 will be the highest degree, or 2 will be the highest power of the variable. Similarly, if you see the last equation, you have x to the power 4, y to the power 4, x to the power 3, y to the power 1. Now out of 4, 4, 3 and 1, which is the highest power? Out of 4, 4, 3 and 1? 4. Everybody agrees? So the highest power of the variable is 4. So this is your degree of the equation. This is very, very important and the basic concept, because every now and then you will have, and in the problems also you will have such options. Okay. And one more thing which you have to remember is x plus x. I am sure everybody knows this. What do you get the answer here? X plus x. What is x plus x? Who can answer me? Only 2? 2x. Okay. And what is x into x? If x plus x is 2x, what is x into x? 2 by x? No, Rida? See, many of them have given the right answer. It is x square. So always remember, good, very good. Always remember x plus x is 2x. X into x. If you multiply the x, then it will become